Hey peeps, I thought we would do a little bit of a witchy chat today as we all maneuver through this holiday season, which brings with it myriad feelings, experiences, opportunities for growth and reflection, you know, kind of sitting with the energy of the year as a whole, as we are wont to do this time of year. And there are so many moments of gratitude, right? And also those really visceral moments that have caused evolution and growth for us that can feel intense, but they're ways in which we learn, right? And so I've definitely been sitting and reflecting with that. And let's have some tea. I am having a London fog today. I don't know if any of you also like to drink London fogs, but it's basically an Earl Grey tea latte. And yeah, so I did get a London fog at the little local cafe in town after I dropped my son off at school this morning. So here we are sitting together. It's wonderful to get a chance to connect. I feel like I've been very busy, and so to get a chance to just sit down and be with you guys and hang out is really, really appreciated. I'm grateful for you as we move through the end of this year. Grateful for the sense of community that we've created and the beautiful path that is a pagan path led in honor of the sacred feminine, with tarot and oracle decks as such a powerful, powerful tool. So I do want to talk a little bit about the Queen Mab Oracle today, because I had a really powerful experience with this deck a few times this month. And so I just wanted to kind of speak to that in case you're looking for a deck to connect with the goddess Lilith. I had a really, really powerful experience with this one, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a deck for Lilith. While I've enjoyed working with the Queen Mab Oracle this year, I didn't realize that this was a deck specifically for Lilith, but I do really feel that it is, and I'll share why in a few moments. But just wanted to first of all express that if you are feeling lonely this year, it seems like what I've been hearing from a lot of clients and viewers is a lot of us really feeling a sense of longing for belonging. Ooh, that rhymed. And perhaps not experiencing that with the connections that we're in close quarters with through the holidays. So if you are having that experience, please know that my heart is with you and you're not alone. A lot of people seem to be feeling that way this year. I've heard that more this year than I had last year. So that's been fascinating. But I will say, as a whole, from the year ahead readings, which I'm winding down on, we're getting close to being done with those on the channel. If you're still waiting for yours, it's coming. I have a few left. We're at the finish line. But what I have noticed collectively is a sense that there's going to be a lot of expansion in 2024. It seems like things are anchoring into the physical that perhaps we were working on in 2023. So take comfort in that knowing that those storylines that finished or lessons that we learned in 2023, in 2024, we're really getting a chance to create from a new vantage point and a new perspective. So that is something that can continue to shine a light for us, right? Even when things feel a little bit sticky this time of year. I've been getting up really early in the morning lately and kind of enjoying that process a great deal. You know, I've been an early riser anyhow, but I've been waking up an additional hour earlier. And it really is, the witching hour is really quite a magical time. I've really been enjoying it and getting a lot done, being very productive. So that always feels good for me, right? But then there comes that time when you need to give yourself permission to stop and to take a break. So if you need that permission, consider that your sister witch has given you permission to take a break. But I have really been enjoying getting up early in the morning and working with the Laputin, or however we pronounce the name of that oracle deck, working with that deck has just been so beautiful. I can't even say, I need to do another video on that deck and just share further reflections on that deck as well, because that's been so magical to use in the morning. And it really likes to go with Tarot of Vampires, guys. Oh my goodness. If you enjoy Tarot of Vampires like I do, I would definitely say consider working with both of them together, because what comes through in the artwork is really eye-opening for your own journey, like in the way in which the artwork complements itself, because the red is used so sparingly in Laputin that it really has an impact. And then Tarot of Vampires is so intense and lush and jewel toned that they end up having this kind of conversation through color and tonality with color that is just breathtaking. I have been enjoying that so much. And I've also been really able over the last 2 weeks to get back into my journaling practice. And oh my goodness, is that just so, again, insightful and healing. And I'm just so grateful. I'm so grateful for this spiritual path and how it sustains and inspires and encourages. And I hope you're feeling that way too, whether you're on top of the world or you're moving through myriad emotions. Hopefully you are finding that your spiritual practice is offering you the support and sense of connection to the divine that allows you to feel loved and cared for, you know, in the energetic and ethereal realms. So let's talk about Queen Mab. Oh wait, let's take a sip of tea because this is so good. Okay, so let's talk about the Queen Mab Oracle. Who is it by, guys? Tess Whitehurst, I think. So this deck is gorgeous. I'm going to show you some images, published by Blue Angel. And it's been on several lists. Like, I've been using it a shit ton, way more than I expected. And I've really been enjoying it. And in a recent video, I talked about like really using it very intuitively. But I had a few very powerful experiences with this deck in regards to Lilith that I wanted to share with you guys in case you have this deck and you're looking to find how you're meant to work with it, or if you're working with Lilith and you're trying to find a deck that's representative of her energy as you work with it. So I understand that this is based on Shakespeare, and I get all of that, and that's awesome and wonderful, but that's not how I connect with this deck at all. And recently I've been moving through some experiences where I've had to set very healthy boundaries and re-examine my sense of self-worth. And see, those of us who have been on this path for decades still work on these things, everyone. So don't feel hard on yourself for being wherever you are at on your journey. This is something that I've come back around as looking at having to heal the father wound and open up to really respecting myself and my own sovereignty. And setting very clear boundaries and holding to those. And so through that, really been connecting very strongly with the goddess Kali, and I've been feeling Lilith come back in a very powerful way. We had you could probably hear my friend's dog Gracie right there. We had kind of taken a little space from each other, but she came kind of roaring back in at the beginning of December through these personal experiences I was having. And I was really having an experience of feeling this sense of shame coming up around whether I was a good person or not. This is something that you may find if you've dealt with a lot of religious brainwashing / inculcation, that this comes up for you, this aspect of, are you a good person if you set a boundary, right? So I was really kind of feeling the sense of shame come up, and I was speaking with a friend of mine about what was coming up around that for me. And she was sharing some beautiful thoughts and loving words. And I decided to go to the Queen Mab Oracle because I love the artwork in this deck so much. And I was like, I need to like release this mantle that I've just put right back on from my childhood. And I need something to help me to release that and to step into an experience of sovereignty instead of shame, right? And I thought of the imagery in this deck, and so I pulled this deck out and drew a card. When I come up on the imagery, I'll show it to you. Love this image, side note. And I actually went to the guidebook, and oh my God, did I feel like Lilith was directly communicating with me through the message in that guidebook. And it really helped me to reframe and step back into a sense of sovereignty, back into a space of awareness of the storylines that I was being given an opportunity to offer healing and unweaving to, instead of stepping back into a traditional or habitual pattern for myself. And I left the card pull and the journaling session and the communication with Lilith with a complete shift, inwardly for my own reaction and story. and this deep sense of balance that allowed me to interact with the situation in a completely different way, but also really allowed me to offer integration to a very old story for myself. Awareness, healing, integration to that. So I just want to offer to you, if you are kind of moving through a time where you're either connecting with Lilith and you want to speak with her more, you want to feel more of an understanding of her messages for you, the artwork in the Queen Mab deck, but even the guidebook, I gotta say, a little bit more than I thought to a certain extent, is really profound for that, because I have drawn a few cards further. I had another session and then another session with the deck, and then just through daily draws, have really been experiencing getting very clear messages from Lilith through this deck. And I do think that, at least for how it's been working with me, 1 card draws are enough for me to have the way in to get those messages from Lilith. But oh man, this is just such an amazing deck. I can't thank the sister and friend who sent this deck to me, because she kind of knew. I don't know. Sometimes you know without knowing, right? Like, look at this imagery. And I think she knew that I needed, oh God, it's so beautiful. I think she knew that I needed this deck. And you know, the beauty of Lilith is that it's not all sunshine and roses with Lilith. And sometimes we do need to engage in protective magic. And sometimes we do need to get real and get clear about where there's an interaction that's happening that's not healthy, and where our best interests are not being upheld, and we are ultimately responsible for being the voice, standing up for herself in those situations. And Lilith is a wonderful goddess to work with around themes of power and control dynamics that we can experience, and especially in regards to claiming your own sovereignty and taking up space in the world, in your life, and in being unapologetic for your energy. And yeah, okay, here's the one. So this is the card I drew, Killed with a Living Death. And then there's a Killed with a Living Death was one, and then there was another one. Hold on, guys, I missed it. I do want to show you which one it was, because it was so impactful. Yeah. But Lilith is a wonderful goddess to work with for these type of areas in our life, where we can assert ourselves, but from a space of strong, real sovereignty and clarity, not from a reactive fuck you space, which, hey, I mean, I love a reactive fuck you space too, but we can't live in that space. And it's really the same frequency as the wounding that we originally experienced. And so it's not necessarily the most helpful space to operate from when we have to engage in and deal with these dynamics. So I really want to encourage you to sit with, you know, excuse me, I cannot find that card. Oh, here it is. Flower. Yes, Flower of Warriors. This was the other one. This was the other one I drew that was super impactful. So both of these cards, so powerful for me to draw, to read the guidebook meaning for, and to work with. So if what I'm saying, you're like, I really resonate with what you're talking about right now, Racine, go read the guidebook meanings for these 2 cards if you have this deck. It will be so powerful, trust me. This and the Kali Oracle, like, on repeat right now for me. But I want to go back to what I was saying about Lilith. Lilith really helps you to come from a very aligned, clear space of who you are, with the real understanding of your value and of the okayness to take up space and to have an opinion, and to not just go along with what somebody else would like you to do, and not to follow someone else's storyline. Lilith is very helpful in experiencing an understanding of, I'm the main character of my story, and my story has the storyline here as well. And am I going to be walking in alignment with that, or am I going to sacrifice myself to someone else's story? So Lilith and Kali are amazing to work with for these things. I strongly recommend the Mab Oracle to connect with her And especially if you're working through these themes, she's really, really powerful for that. And I'm just, yeah, just so grateful for this deck, so grateful for the connection with Lilith, so grateful for fellow sisters on this path who are walking with integrity and sovereignty. And so I wanted to share about that. I love to share with you guys when I have a really powerful experience with a deck, especially one like I kind of thought I knew her and her purpose in my work, and especially in client readings, I've been very aware of you know, what she's come forward to what space she's come forward to hold for clients. But there's a shift in this, and that's what I love about long-term work with our decks, is that you see things grow, things shift, things evolve. And so even our decks can't be put in boxes, even though I won't even go there. There's a whole different route I could go with that. But, you know, even our decks can't be put in boxes of a framework of how something is. And when we follow those intuitive prompts, like, I'm so thankful that I was able to follow that prompt to pull this deck, because if you had said to me, like, what deck would you like to use to get an answer right now for this arena where you're feeling this sense of shame, I wouldn't necessarily have chosen Queen Mab, but the imagery in that deck was all I could see, and I just felt so pulled to it that that was the deck that ended up getting chosen to pull from for that moment. So follow those intuitive prompts, even if it doesn't make sense, like, go for it, because there may be something within that deck that you hadn't even realized was there that's bringing you back in alignment with a supportive spiritual practice that can be very eye-opening and insightful, as well as encouraging. So I hope you're all doing well out there in the world. Thank you for hanging out with me and having a sip of tea, especially as we move into the busyness of the next few weeks. It's wonderful to get to spend some time with you. So I hope you're doing well out there in the world. I am sending you, as always, so much love and many blessings, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.